It's 11 o'clock hour. Think it's time to start?
Yeah.
You ready? You ready? I'm ready. Let's boogie. Alright, so welcome back to Adventures in Food with Chef Scott. Today we're going to do a quick class, believe it or not. This is going to be part of our culinary foundations. So what we're working on today is chicken stock. So come on in, Mr. Cameraman. Just show them what we're working with and what they can do. All right, so we have our chicken bones, our carcass from actually when we broke down the chicken. That's what that is there for, which has the neck and the gizzard and all that stuff is in there, in the heart. Also the wing tips from the chicken wings. I got some carrots. If you want to go out and buy a big bag, of long carrots and peel them down and chop them up, go ahead. I mean, these baby carrots work just fine because the thing is you want to pretty much make everything almost the same size for cooking purposes. Some bay leaves, always good to have in there. I'm throwing some garlic in mine just to have some fun because, garlic makes everything better. And then I got some celery, straight from the farm, local farm, and onion. So between the celery, the onion, and the carrots, that's going to be your mirepoix. So that's your vegetable mix. So let's begin on this. So what I'm going to do is to start breaking down some stuff. I got all this onion, I got the celery. Got to start breaking it down into into large chunks that we want to cook away with. Some good options for you when you are making chicken stock. You want to change it up a bit other than just straight into water and boil. You can actually take the vegetables, you can take the chicken, toss it all in olive oil, and then lightly roast it in your oven. Just get this nice roasted vegetable flavor to it, which is always fun. So there goes all my celery. I'm going to take my onion. I'm going to break this down into large pieces. We'll get rid of any ugliness that's on there. Don't need that in there. Want a nice soup base or chicken stock. There, that's so we got our onion, got our carrots, got our trash. I've worked in kitchens where even the skins and everything went into the stock that we were making at the time. So I'm gonna put this all together. This is all gonna go into our stock pot. Start cooking away. All right, so our chicken. Got our nice carcass here that we had left over from the last time. Depending on how deep your stock pot is, I mean, you can always go in and actually cut back into it and break it open so we can bring it down to some nice controllable pieces. Whenever you deal with like any kind of bone broths or stocks when you make them, we're trying to extract as much flavor out of the actual bone inside there. Especially when you're dealing with beef, you can get your butcher to actually take the saw and cut into the bones and break them up, open up the bones more for you and break them into controllable pieces because you want to roast them in the oven with some tomato product on it and then add it to the stock. But their bone density is so thick, if you don't break into it and break it down, you'll be sitting there for a week boiling down those bones trying to get them soft. All right, that being said, other things that we need for today's job. All right, I got my water for my chicken stock. It's gonna be my base, right? I'm gonna start off with some nice water. And over here we got a nice stock pot. Got my lid. In the ever so versatile, awesome everything that everyone in every kitchen should have, the wooden spoon. These things are great. They don't scratch your metal. They're just a multi-purpose tool of the kitchen. Everyone should have them. And of course we're going to do some salt and pepper, and I'm also going to do a little bit of olive oil just to start sauteing some of this stuff off, just to start extracting some flavors. So I'm going to start off on like a medium, just slightly over medium heat. I'm going to add some olive oil in there. Get that hot. I got my garlic and my bay leaf. So what I'm going to do is let this oil heat up, and I'm going to drop in my garlic really quick with my bay leaf. I'm going to start extracting some oils, which is extremely important. Get that flavor working. Then we're going to follow up with our mirepoix, so our carrots, our onion, our celery. I'm going to start sauteing those off inside there as well. This will also do two different things. Not only does it start the cooking process, but it also starts extracting some of the flavors and gives some caramelization on a little bit of color, which so you don't have such an opaque base. Give you a little bit of color and have some fun with it. Ooh, look at that. See it running. It's running for the hills. It's getting hot. It's getting hot in here. Alright. Throw that on in there, let that start going. Now please notice I didn't break that garlic down. I left it in huge chunks, right? Because this is going to be cooking for an hour and a half to 2 hours after I'm done on a low. Once I bring it up to a boil, I'm going to reduce it down to a simmer, and I'm going to just slowly work that for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Just extract it. And then if I break everything so small down, it's just going to dissolve in there, and we're not going to extract what we really want. You actually smell the pepper in the air, can't you? And that bay leaf. Alright. In goes my celery and my onion. Gonna stir it up. Stir in the pot. Just stir in the pot. Let that party happen. Add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Have some fun in there. Got that bay leaf in there. Let that roll.
Somebody said looks delicious.
And it will be. It will be naughty and awesome. Love it. See, once again, this shows you all the stuff that you can do with your chicken. So we showed you on about 2 weeks ago how you can break down the whole bird, get all the different pieces of the puzzle for that, and then all the way down to using the carcass. So nothing goes to waste. You use 100% of the product, which is what we want. We want to be able to utilize this anywhere we go. You know, and maximize our dollar. Let's face it, times are tough out there. I want to take care of you guys. Make sure you guys get everything you pay for. I'm going to throw those carrots in there. And get this really nice vegetable blend going on, which is really cool. Believe it or not, I know it seems pretty heapy full right now. As we're going to be packing this in and with water, but as we reduce this down and the carrots and the onions and everything starts really reducing and just, you know, almost dissipating throughout the base here, our stock, you know, we're going to open it up. So as we go through this process, you may end up adding a little bit more water to it once it starts cooking down a little bit more, and as you start really simmering it, the more liquid you take out, the more intense the flavor is going to be, right? So depending on what level you want to go with. But if you're looking for a huge pot of soup, I mean, you're going to have to add water and really extract as much as you can, and then, you know, use this as a base and build off of that. See, our onion's already starting to soften. what we want. It smells delish. It's delicious, and I really want to chow it. There we go. So I'm going to let that go for a little bit longer before we add our chicken bones. Like I said before, if you feel dangerous, you feel naughty, put on your oven to like 350 degrees and roast the chicken bones and all this together too. But it's been tossed in olive oil. You can roast it all in the oven to give it some more color, give it some more flavor, get that roasted vegetable flavor that we're looking for as well. That's another way of doing it. But even for our vegetarians out there, you go. This is our vegetable stock. Even if you roasted this off first, a little bit of tomato paste tossed in there and that olive oil and roast it up, you'll have a fantastic vegetarian stock as well. So those who are not carnivores like myself and say, you know what, I just want to know how to make stock. Making stock is all the basic same principles. You're basically extracting things out of the vegetables and out of the bones, or out of just the vegetables. So you can make all kinds of different vegetable stocks out there, not only just with this blend, but you can add some of your root vegetables out there just to intensify it. And maybe you wanted like a vegetable with an Asian infusion to it, you can throw some ginger in there as well and make a nice little ginger vegetable stock as well. So stock is fun to make and it's fun to play with, but not only can you take stock and make soups and stuff, but then once you get your stock, you can turn those into sauces. Alright? So then, like with chicken base or chicken stock, you can make the velouté and stuff like that. So these are just the basic areas for when, if you were starting to go into stocks and then going into sauces and things like that. They're all derivative off of this here too. So learning how to make good stock transfers into good bases, or even a consommé soup. This is another challenging piece. Like beef consommé, or you're taking basically the beef stock that you've made and you're clarifying it. And they can use actually egg product as well as ground meat, and they create a shell as it floats to the top with all those particulate. And you have to poke a hole so your ladle can go in there, and you just slowly let it percolate out until it goes extremely clear. And that's a consommé. It's a challenging soup, and if it's not done right, you can make it very cloudy. But if done right, it's fun. Super crystal clear, very intense flavors, very good. Very nutritious too. This is the other nice thing is about us doing this at home. We're not worried about throwing any preservatives or any of the garbage that you buy out there, right? If you know, we're in a world where manufacturers kind of rule. And if we're making it at home, I know what's going in it. I know that I'm using salt, I'm using pepper, I'm using organic salt and pepper if I'm using that, or I'm using some nice olive oil, I'm using organic chicken bones, I'm using straight from the market produce. So you know exactly what's going in it. And there's none of this other extra garbage and hormones and stuff that they put in foods nowadays. So knowing how to do this can make your life a lot better and a lot easier, right? A little bit healthier. Smell that. That smells delish. Getting some flavors, some smell. Alright, so now I got some smell-o-vision going on there. I'm going to take my chicken bones and I'm adding them in. That's the chicken bones, the chicken neck, and all the gizzard and the heart. All that's getting in there. So I'm just going to mix this in to our mirepoix. Alright. If you had 2 chickens, throw them both in here. Throw both of the carcasses in here. Just going to make more chicken flavor. Alright? Letting it go for a little bit. Just bringing it to the party. Letting those bones get in there and say, hey, I want to have fun in the bath here too. Chicken wing. Tip it. Even had that extra skin and fat, which is going to be fun. Gives you some more flavor as well. So I'm cranking it now, cranking the heat because I'm getting ready. I'm going to deglaze it with my water and start breaking it down. But if you wanted to, at this point in time, introduction of a white wine, very acceptable. Pour some white wine in here, get some extra flavors going in there. I actually like white wine inside my chicken stocks. I don't have anything today, so we're just doing the basics, but that is an option where you can actually, once this really starts romping with some heat, as you can hear, it's intensifying, it's sizzling, it's partying in there. I can bring down the party with a little bit of booze, and then I'll let it cook off and get some flavors, right?
Now, do you have to have a fancy wine?
No.
Just cheap box wine will do?
You can do cheap box wine. Save your fancy wines for enjoying. Enjoy that really expensive wine. Anything that's, a cheap box wine. They have a ton of them out there where you can, you can either buy them in the smaller boxes or even the larger boxes. They have some good ones out there. Those are great for cooking wines. Don't ever recommend taking your super high-end wine and saying, let's turn it into some cooking wine. That'll make me cry. Look at that. So we're already seeing some of these organs starting to cook inside this, which is good. I'm going to add a little bit more pepper. And start adding my salt. So I'm doing like 3 good pinches. And then as it cooks, we can re-season to the seasoning level and flavor level that we're looking for. Alright, so I don't feel like you have to go all hard and strong right from the beginning. Alright, so now that that's rocking, I'm going to introduce the liquid now. So I'm going to start introducing the stock, or the water for the stock base. Pull out my Cambro. Got a little bit over the edge. Getting dangerous here in the kitchen. There we go. So I'm going to keep this residual water over here just in case, if as I'm cooking through, if I haven't gotten through and gotten enough that flavor extracted out like I want, I can always add a little bit more liquid and just keep on with the process of boiling this down. So I'm going to bring this up to a rapid boil. As soon as I hit a boil, I'm going to reduce it down to a simmer. And then I'm going to do, when I'm going to be doing like almost a very low simmer. And at that point in time, I'm just going to let it go. And you'll notice as you extract the chicken and the flavor from the chicken bones will become like super soft. You'll actually be able to crush them with your own hand, just smush right through them. And that's when you know you've extracted every single bit of the flavor out of that chicken. This weird flame look on the camera here. Yes. Very well. Entertainment at its best. So like I said, I bring this up to a boil. I just covered it. As soon as it comes to a boil, I'm going to let it go for a few minutes, and then I'm just going to slowly reduce it down, and then just let it do its magic. Let it continue to bring the flavors out of all the bones and out of the celery and the onions, my mirepoix. And even some of the flavor out of that nice olive oil, right? Olive oils are great because you can get some flavors out of the olive oils as well. Coffee. Way to start the day. every man's got to get his coffee.
Yes, sir.
Smells good, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can smell it all through the house now. I mean, this is when you know you got a really good stock.
Reminds me of the Blair day.
Yeah, and this stuff is great. Like I said on our previous episode, actually one before that, right? Last week was peach cobbler.
Yeah.
When we did the chicken, some things that I told you to do is you can actually go and get your little ice cube trays, right? If you had ice cube trays, once you extracted all this wonderful flavor out and you strain it out, you can pour it into the ice cube tray, put it inside your freezer, and freeze it, and have nice little chicken stock cubes. You could drop these in to, take everything from doing a pasta to even if you have one of those cheap little ramen soups, you can drop it in there and give it some intense flavor, right? So we've been known to take ramen soup and turn it into gourmet ramen soup. Doing stuff, but you can do that. But all this, you can freeze this. You can freeze it for coming up, and when the weather starts to turn, it starts getting cooler out. Right now today we're gonna be 90-some degrees here at our place, but as winter starts setting in and then the fall starts setting in, let's face it, we got football weather coming up. We got cooler conditions coming up. This is a great stock to start off to do a chicken chili, and we love our chicken chili here. And we'll be doing a chicken chili class when it gets colder out. It's kind of pointless to do it now. No one wants to eat chili when it's 100 degrees outside. But this stock would be great for doing a chicken chili with our white beans and everything. Getting hot. So as it gets hot, we're going to break down all those vegetables. You can see actually starting to build up with this foam. So this is like some of the particulate and some of the fats and everything are coming out, and that's what we want to start extracting, the fats and flavors out of the skin as well as the bones. And another nice thing about this is if you extract all the much as you can out of these bones, you can actually extract the gelatin that's out of the bones, and this will become kind of gelatinous like Jello. And once you cool it, it'll become like this Jello cube of stock, and that means you've extracted every inch of that stock out of there. You can actually use that as a base and reconstitute a little. I mean, once you apply heat to it, it'll actually go right back to the liquid form. But you can actually use that as a base inside soups or whatever, and as a gelatin form, being able to have that as well. But that just lets you know that you've extracted every bit of the content of the bones out, which is what we want. This is the exciting part. Watch pot never boils. Nothing's happening. We're gonna let that boil off, and like I said, once this comes to a rapid boil, I'm gonna let it rapid boil for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna reduce that thing down to a low simmer because I don't want to burn anything, and I don't want to just destroy, evaporate all my liquid. I want to extract as much as I can out of what's in here. So I'm gonna bring it down to a low simmer, and then just let that do its magic. And probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours, we're gonna have a pretty banging stock. At that point in time, I'm gonna let it cool, and then I'm gonna strain it out. So you can get cheesecloth if you want, any kind of colander. You can strain out the big particulate. There's still going to be some other stuff that comes through that, of course, when you're doing it as colander, but trying to get the bones and the leftover vegetables and stuff out. After that, you can actually strain it through cheesecloth and collect some of the extra particulate in there and really make a nice clear chicken base. And then it's just whatever you want to do with it, whether you put it in an ice cube tray and cube it out, or you put it in a gallon bag and you freeze it for later, or you use it for a soup today or for a recipe that you're working on today. I mean, chicken stock is so universal. You can use it in just about everything, not only just soups, but also, you know, if you're doing, like I said, pastas, or you're doing a casserole, or you're using it as a braising liquid for something else, like you're doing a roast, and you don't want beef stock, but maybe you want something lighter, so you can use the chicken stock for that. Get there. She's about to get ready to pop up. Get ready to go hot. But we also have that bay leaf in there that will bring a little bit of peppery essence to it. But once we strain it out, then whatever you want to do with that chicken stock is up to you. And yeah. Any questions out there? Nice. Alright, so what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to let that go up to a boil, reduce it down. I'm not going to make you guys wait around all day, not unless you want. And I can sit there and I'll hold the camera and let you see what it does. But we're going to go ahead and just call this one good. Once you try this at home, I think you'll like it. And you'll be able to start, saving yourself some money at the market, and make some really good foods for your family, and organic and natural, not worry about all the preservatives that are in foods out there. So the more that you can help out your local farmer and buy from them, and actually buy some really good stuff and make good homemade stuff like that, the better off your family's going to be. So as always, thanks for joining us. You can always see us every weekend here on Twitch. You can follow me on Instagram, right? Instagram at Chef Scott Blair 99. My website is chefscottblair.com. If you go there, every recipe, every video that we've ever done is on there. We even have shopping lists. I love seeing what people do. So hit me up, send me a picture of what you've made, how it worked out for you. We had one last week for the cherry cobbler, and actually one of our people that follows, and it looked great. So good job, Elizabeth. Saw that and it was awesome. Your cherry cobbler was banging. But you can follow me there, and always here. So thanks for your time. Anybody has any questions, shoot me a message. Let me know how it's going. Until then, I'll see you next time at another Adventures in Food with Chef Scott Blair.